Hey friend, Brannon Shortt here. And if my accent isn't already giving me away, or if you can't already tell, spoiler alert, I'm not from California originally. I'm originally from North Carolina, but both of my parents and both sets of my grandparents are from this little bitty town in the southwest portion of Virginia. Now, when I say little bitty, I mean 1,000 people or less, tucked in between these two mountains. It's going to take you 3 plane trips and a safari and a boat ride to be able to get to this place. And they live on this thing that you ain't never heard of called a holler, meaning they live back in the holler. Not, yo, holler at me later, like we live in a holler, which is really just a desolate road tucked in between 2 hills. But I loved visiting that place when I was a kid. And it was really striking to me how they referred to one another there. I mean, genuinely, no matter where I was at in that town, my grandmother and my grandfather and everybody else was referred to as brother, whatever their name was. Brother Harold, sister Tina, brother this, sister that, everybody. It seemed like everybody was doing that. And at first, when I was a little kid, I was like, wait, that's weird. Everybody in this town's first name is either brother or sister. Now, as I got a little bit older and started walking a little bit different, I thought it may be more sinister. I'm like, wait a minute, this little bitty mountain town tucked in between these 2 mountains in Virginia, what if all these people are actually siblings? Like, what if they're all one gigantic family of 1,000 people? Sorry, Southwest Virginia, I love y'all. And obviously, I grew up and realized that wasn't true. But what I did realize was true is in that culture, they really believed that if Jesus, right there in the buckle of the Bible Belt, that Jesus had made us family. So we refer to each other. When we see each other, we call out the fact that we are just that we're family, that we're brothers and we're sisters. Now, I got a fear with that, honestly. I think we know often that we're brothers and we're sisters in Christ, but those words that are meant to hold such weight can often in our culture become like feathers. We know them, we say them, but they don't hold weight. They don't hit us like they ought to. They don't hit us like a cinder block coming off of a skyscraper into a river that should splash our lives. We've literally been made family. You know, as we go to Mark chapter 3 in our series, it's pretty interesting because Jesus is in this really tense family moment in this chapter. Actually, his family's coming to pull him out of the crowd because they think he is delusional. In this really tense family moment, Jesus takes a second to remind us and to show us something about family, to reorient the way that we see one another. See, in verse 32, it says, a crowd was sitting around him and they told him, your mother and brothers are outside. Who are my mother and brothers? He said. Then he looked at those seated in the circle around him and he said, these are my mothers and brothers. Whoever, hear me say that, whoever does God's will is my brother and my sister and my mother. You see, Jesus brings us ultimately as individuals into the family of God, but in so doing, he also brings us into family relations with one another. And that should hit us so heavily. That's not just a term, that's not just a phrase, that's a reality of how we are to be with one another, how we are to relate to one another. That changes the way that we bear burdens, how we come through, how we hold each other accountable, how empathetic we are. Everything changes when we realize, nah, it's not acquaintance, it's not friend, it's brother or sister. That changes the way we relate. I want to challenge you, I'm going to challenge myself to do this today. I want you to take your handy dandy smartphone at some point today. And I want you to reach out to somebody in your life that honestly, man, they love the Lord and they make you want to love the Lord more. And I want you to tell them 2 things. I want you to tell them first, thank you. Thank you for making me more like Jesus, for making me want to love Jesus and know Jesus more. And then I want you to follow that by reclaiming, redeeming the power of those words. I want you to say, and by the way, you're a brother to me. You're a sister to me. You are family to me. We got you. Because I promise, I'm telling you, when they open that text or they answer that phone call or they see that video you send them, I'm telling you, 1, they're never going to forget that you said it. But 2, it brings us into process to redeem the power of those things. We are family, and that changes everything. See what it does with your bond with that person. I dare you to do it. I guarantee it'll take your relationship deeper. just as Jesus knew that it would, and just like he meant it to.